don't want to dwell more. Let's talk about, I'm currently putting it on the screen now. Let's talk about Black Lives Matter and why certain players who are white, of course, according to you, did not take the...
Who is the easy drop there? The easy drop will be Mpho Phangiso, because we just guys that, unfortunately, that's what it is. You know, we don't talk, you know, we don't ask a lot of questions, you know. We're like, okay, coach, I'll take that, you know. All right, I understand. You know, there are guys in the team that cause havoc. You know, there are guys that you drop, for an example, you drop a Imran Tahir. Imran Tahir will tell you, Uguti, I don't need this, guys. I'm going to go play in England. Or I'm going to go play the leagues around the world. You understand what I'm saying? So he's got those options. And then I would say, I don't know who came up with the rules for government, but thank you very much for that. Because if it wasn't of that, I don't think a lot of guys would have been where they are, or they would have shown their talent. They would have been given an opportunity to do that. You know, so in us being given that quota thing, or that opportunity to play, it then gives you time to actually learn, because Ngidi got the World Cup, got the tours that he plays, the opportunities that he gets, he does so well. If you look at it, I don't know how many firefighters he's got T20. You look at his numbers. I wish we could put his numbers on the screen, but unfortunately we can't. You'll do that. So you look at his numbers. They tell you, if there was someone to pick out of the Simas, it would be Ngiti first. But like I say, he's that easy drop, because let's be honest, if you don't take KG, what is South Africa gonna do? South Africa is gonna complain. If you don't take Nokia, people are gonna complain. People are gonna complain. So
to do pure academics, or you want to continue with your sports career, or I don't understand. Couldn't you be, you know, Caster Semenya, when she went to tax, she was still a student and still doing athletics. Was it difficult for you guys?
No, look, that is a personal choice, to be honest. A personal choice. No one is forcing you to...
Oh, but you did have an option.
Yeah, you did have an option to go to school. And then, to be honest, they do advise you, Hore, look, go to school and. But, like I say, it's a personal choice. I made that choice. You know what? I enjoy playing. I'm not going to mention the coach or which team it was in. But this is a story that I think all cricketers know. You know, I think there was a particular coach in the change room, and I think there was names of players there, Mopotong, and then he put stars next to
African
players and colored players, and so one senior guy, a colored guy. And he asked, hey, coach, are these your star players or what? Your main players? And then the coach didn't even know how to...
batsman keeper. Do you think Tammy had a better bat than Magbacha?
The stats say so. You know, the stats say so, to be honest. But that's why it's different. If we look at the stats, you must understand which Boucher played most of his career away at the Proteas. You understand? And then Utami go Ntwela. And then Utami,
it will be difficult to compare.
It will be difficult to.
Please tell people who are you, where you from, and if it's Sosha or Rankua.
It's definitely born in Harankua. Grew up in Sosh. Mpho Phangiso, yeah.
Sure.
You know, so, but yeah, a lot of people actually get it wrong. Not get it wrong, but by confuse, you know, I think somewhere, somehow, more profiling Yaka, they always go Harankua. Okay. So if I can clarify, Harankua is where I was born, where my parents come from, Mina, I grew up Kososhankuve. You know, my parents moved when I was young. So yeah, so all my childhood, it was based in Sosha.
So where in Sosha, and like when I say where, which schools, which area in Sosha?
No, we moved around a bit. My parents moved around a bit. The early days, Soshankuve. So we started living go the TT and moved to a section, but go the FF, block FF. That's where I went my primary school, Tlamahanyo Primary School, you know. That's where actually the cricket started, go Tlamahanyo. Then, you know, the moving around continued. I think my dad was lucky enough to get a bit of a better job. And another section, go Soshankuve, go the DD again. And I went to Fugani, you know, that's where I think the cricket was concentrated on. You know, that's where I met Bo, teacher Baloi and all of them. So that's my moving around. And now finally go high, I think we settled to go to KK. A lot of people might know it as Jugulane, you know. So that's where my parents live now, or my mom, as my dad is late. So yeah, that's where we are.
So Muta Jugulane.
Muta Jugulane.
Okay, so you were 12 when you were spotted, or when you started playing? What is it?
I think when I started playing, actually, Nekilia, I was 12. Hero Ramohali, Kotlamahanyo, you know, I was just hitting balls, go grounding. I think, you know, back in the days, the youngsters, you could do sort of almost anything, because we played soccer, Mostrate, we played this. So I think our sporting abilities, they came naturally, unlike now where you have to coach our young kids how to even run, you know, because they don't run, they sit on couches. But yeah, I was spotted then, and then he said, look, I would like for you to join a cricket sort of school team. And yeah, from there, sort of everything just took off.
So at the time, what was it? Bakers?
It wasn't even Bakers, man. It wasn't even Bakers. So Hero had a sort of had a team, Goskela, that he was just trying to groom. Because remember, Soshankuve, we just started playing cricket then. That's when obviously cricket was introduced to Sosha. So Bakers, obviously, Itomaka, I think it felt like at age 11 or something.
Which years are we talking about?
Yo, you're putting me unders. Kekale, we're talking a lot of years ago. We're talking more than probably 18 years ago.
Okay.
18 years ago. I think those are the years. The one memory I have of that, I think the Proteas came to Sosh. Sosh was opening a cricket stadium.
Oh, okay.
So the Proteas actually came there, the late Hansi, all of them, Mark Boucher, they came there. So that's how cricket was actually introduced to us, Soshankuve, you know, with that. We just saw Batabaha Stadium. We didn't know what cricket was. You know, I mean, I think the only thing we knew about cricket was John T. Rhodes. You know, I think Makaya was not even that famous then. So yeah, after that, then obviously it was thrown into schools. You know, so teachers took sort of initiative here, Horba, build a little bit of something. There was bakers involved, but then I was not interested in bakers. I was just playing, to be honest. Like I said, I saw a couple of guys, polo, and then I was like, let me just try hit it as far as I can. So that's how everything sort of happened.
The guy who sees you, and then the scholarship, how does it come around?
Yeah, the late Hero. Yes, he played a big role in my cricketing sort of career, because he saw me. After that, I went to a couple of practices, you know, and I remember him calling my dad saying, "Hey, this boy's got a little bit of something in him. I see a bit of potential." So kopela hore mo rekele kit, you know. And then, you know, my dad, obviously being my dad, to be honest, naile khona fetong rekela soccer boots. So yeah, he was a bit skeptical about that, but then he went and he bought me the kit, and I started playing from there on. I was lucky enough, I think in a couple of months, then Hero took me to trials. Then I made the Northerns under 13. That's where, sort of, after you make that age group, that's where I think we scouts, because remember back in the day, CSA was throwing money into development and all of that. So that's when I got that scholarship. There was 5 of us that were spotted, go Soshankuve, all my big friends now. So I got a scholarship to CBC.
Give them shout out. I want to know who are they.
No, my boys, we're actually doing a program with one of the guys now called Phangiso Cap.
Yeah.
That's Chico Ponela. There's a guy called Shadrach Masiteng. He's a teacher now. Petros Mokwape, and there's Marvin Ramutwe. Those are the guys that came from Sosh. But there were other guys that came from other townships. The other guy, we also doing that program, Phangiso Cap, which is Patrick Nkuna, Dovu, all of the boys. So we were lucky those days to get such an opportunity.
Okay, and you get a scholarship, you go and Cheese Boy, Lemakhoa, and then you treated like a second-class citizen. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was obviously nearly tough to move from Kokasi and you go CBC, where it's a different world. Private school, Babalala school.
Where is that school?
CBC, just before you enter Silverton, on your left, Christian Brothers College. It's a good school. It's a big school.
Oh,
I know
exactly.
It's one of the best.
At that intersection of Botanical Gardens.
Yes.
Is it a Christian school?
It's a Christian school, Catholic school. So it was a different world for us, for the 5 guys. But what we did well, Reina, was we always stuck together.
At least no see why.
But that's why it was tough. Coming from Kososha, being used to Hojadi Kerefishi and all of that stuff, and you going there, all of a sudden you are thrown in a boarding school, and then I remember, man, it wasn't easy. But like I said, the good thing is we stuck together as friends. That's why most of us, we still friends as in today. So it was tough. There was a little bit of, obviously, when you're young, I look back now, there were some boys that were a bit mean, the bullies of the school, and funny enough, some of them, you grow with them, they get to understand, okay, who is Aaron Phangiso, who is Chico Ponela, where do these guys come from? Because remember, Bona, they've never been in that situation, they wake up and sometimes are on they know that, I think people call it the soft life now. So, but then once the guys actually got to know us, what kind of people we are, what environment we come from, it got better, we made good friends, there were guys obviously in that situation where they protected us a bit, they brought us close to them. Still friends now, Botsepiso, Bolesedi, all of those guys, but I'm glad that that's an experience that I went through as a person, because then you've got best of both worlds.
So this animosity you received, was it coming on the color lines, or was it just mixed?
I don't think it wasn't color. It wasn't color. It was mixed.
That's why pure classism.
That's why, get classism. It was kids not knowing what's better.
Yeah.
It was kids not knowing what's better. It's like Honobanong. Honobanong. It's so much better, man. Because we obviously, as parents, we teach our kids better morals, better this, better that. Kale, it was more about I've got this, you don't have this, and in those kids, obviously, Nabahola with that.
Yeah.
That mentality. So no one, like I say, man, I don't think it matters, or how I bring up my kids. I make sure they go to Sosh.
So were you in boarding school?
Yeah, I was in boarding school.
And you Ukeleza up until?
You mean go CBC?
Yes.
Up until I finished my matric.
In the same school.
In the same school.
And
yeah.
then how do you go to, you completely, are you still at Northerns, or is it Northerns that took you there?
Yeah, Northerns took me there. That was a program, I think, back in the days. It was sponsored by Transnet or something like that. But they took me there. So throughout my high school career, until I finished, and then obviously there were opportunities. Sahori, do you wanna carry on and go to school? Big schools, big institutions like orthodox, they offered you scholarships and all of that stuff. But I don't think I was interested, even though I'm one of the cleverest guys. But my focus was not there.
So in other words, was it a choice offered? Do you want to do pure academics, or you want to continue with your sports career? Or I don't understand. Couldn't you be, Caster Semenya, when she went to tax, she was still a student and still doing athletics. Was it difficult for you guys?
No, look, that is a personal choice, to be honest. A personal choice. No one is forcing you to...
Oh, but you did have an option.
Yeah, you did have an option to go to school. And then, to be honest, they do advise you, Hori, look, go to school and. But, like I say, it's a personal choice. I made that choice. Nakari, you know what? I enjoy playing cricket. So, I mean, immediately after that, I went to the academy, Yako Northerns, and when you go to the academy, they provided us with accommodation. They provided us with whatever we needed to do to sort of become a professional player. So with that opportunity, it's either you go all in or you're not going to make it. So you're not going to go to the academy and sort of Ozamo study and the balance when you are that young, it's difficult. So I just chose, I told my parents, God, I just want to go to the academy. And if the cricket thing does not work out in a year or two, I still have time to go back, go study, And I mean, lucky enough for me, doors opened, after matric, doors opened because I started making South African teams when at the age of 17. So 17 I played South Africa under 17, and then we went to the Coke Week, Majola Coke Week. I also made that side.
Who did you go with your on that special December weekend with? Do you remember the guys that you played with?
Yeah,
Majola.
Yeah, all of them still, or some of them I still play with now. Our Northerns team was Faf du Plessis, he was captain. A.B. de Villiers, there was Stefan Mayberg, Ainu Kuhn, it was Franz Nkuna, Patrick Nkuna, Chico Ponel. So it was a lot of guys that actually immediately after that, they sort of went on to play professional cricket. Like I say, we obviously know who Faf is. We know Stefan Mayberg played for the Netherlands, or if he's still playing for the Netherlands, A.B. de Villiers, So yeah, we had a good team. We won that Coke Week. Didn't lose a game. We even won the finals with a bonus point. So
no, you guys were just dominant.
Our team was on steroids. So yeah.
And then did you under 19? Did you go to the World Cup?
Under 19, unfortunately, my year of under 19, it wasn't the World Cup year.
That's always unfortunate. That's always unfortunate.
So, but then we toured England. We went there. We won a series there for the first time, England, and we went to Commonwealth Games with that SA under 19 team that consisted of guys like JP, Domini, Bofen, and Philander. Von van Jasveld. So it was also a good team, and it's one of those teams. If I think there was a World Cup, Guyana at that time, I'm sure we would have been the first team to win the World Cup before Yabo KG.
Yeah. Talking about Von van Jasveld, what a talent that never came up to total fruition. But let's just leave it there. So. you guys go through.
Mara, Von did well. It's just that I think, to be honest, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think he got some fair chances when it came to the Proteas, because the series that they picked him, if you remember, Bamu Pikile going to Australia, and that was a very hot Australia team at that moment.
Yeah.
So it was very tough, but domestically he put in the numbers. He was one of the best players, I think, that era. It's just that he was just one of those guys, Lehona, the Proteas, if you remember, they had such a solid team then. To crack into that team was also difficult. So he's one of those.
That I think the saddest thing with Von is, and that's the part I can't put it with Mfunekongam and Marshall Dilanga, because those pacers had difficulties with their bodies and stuff. But with him, he's been this interesting prospect that we all waiting for, and we know he's gonna be a world beater, but nothing happened. I don't know what was it. Injuries? Was it bad timing? Was it? See, Tamito Lukile could say he had a Mark Boucher standing in his way, and that will be honest. He had a Mark Boucher, and career's bottleneck at some point. You can't go through if the best striker is Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So with Von, I don't know what happened with him.
No, I think it was the same thing. That's why that's when the Proteas also had that strong team. If you look at...
He couldn't break through.
He couldn't break through. He put in the numbers. And like I say, when he finally broke through, he got a difficult tour, Australia. And your Australian team, that side, you look at Nelly Sean Tate, Brett Lee. It was that unbeatable team, Ricky Ponting.
It's tough. It's tough.
And sometimes as players, you go through situations where you just get that one chance, and then if it doesn't work out, unfortunately, there's a lot of guys by Longhor, they did not, like you said, their timing was wrong. Bo Ethi Mbalati.
Yes.
Ethi was one of the best fast bowlers in South Africa for a long time. He held records. It's a franchise cricket, but you look at when he was doing so well for the Titans, you look at the team there, Gabo Sean Pollock, Skaligi Dale Steyn, Bomorne, you know what I mean? So where do you break in? And then he plays for SAA, he does so well, but you still cannot break in. So I think that was just the unfortunate thing, some of the players in the past, that era of cricket was very tough.
For Ethi it was tough. I remember when he was playing SAA, the English taught, and I think Marcus Trescothick was opening. He
just cleaned them up.
He cleaned them up. I think that it's one of those tough things. But talking about going down under, JP Dumini went down under, and that's what he made his career out of. It's tough touring Australia, like you say, but it's another thing. So I want to understand, this difficulty of African players, specifically I'm talking about African players, breaking into big teams. There's no, what do I say? There's no, I want to understand. It's the same thing with rugby. From the Craven Week, these boys are too many. From the Cravens, and then as they go up, and they just disappear, and they never get to play for the Boks. Just tell me, in cricket terms, what is happening? We used to have your Plascons, they would sponsor and stuff, and you would have a big pool. Now there's not even a big pool of players to come out of. Just tell me, once you hit pro, the franchise cricket, what then happens? The thing that we don't see, that you guys see, that you think are the problems that are plaguing our African players.
I don't think it's a problem as such. I think it's a matter of people backing people. And unfortunately, in the situation or what you are talking about or what you are asking me, you need people to believe in you. You need people to say, Mpho Phangiso, I'm going to carry you all the way, because that's what sport is about. That's what opportunity is about. And unfortunately, or I don't know how to put it, but for a lot of African players, as you say, there is that talent. There is that talent that comes up. And when it hits crunch time now, when someone is supposed to say, I still have you, and I'm going to give you that chance or opportunity to actually pull through, and I understand that cricket or sports, you might not pull through by your first season, you might not pull through by your second season, but the talent that you've shown us from when you are young, we know that you are capable of becoming a Makayantini, you're capable of becoming a Tiger Woods, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, when it comes to franchise cricket, when it comes to those big leagues, it's business now. Get business. So you need to put the results there. The coaches are under pressure, the CEOs are under pressure, So if I'm giving this boy an opportunity and then wa fail for 3-4 games, there's always noise at the back saying, is he good enough? This boy, can we carry him?
Yes.
Wara. So, and I think Uguti, that's where we get it wrong, when it comes to African players. African players, you must understand, Uguti, first of all, we come from disadvantage, most of us from the beginning, So coming from a disadvantage, I'm talking about the type of coaching we get, the mental preparation we get, or we are prepared. This is now you are entering in a different league. Those kind of things. And I think, as I said, as coaches and as your big administrators, if we focus on that and see Uguti, how can we help African players transition into the big leagues, then I think the system would be better, and it'll be a little bit better for Nabatwabans. Like I say, you look at, let me give you 2 examples. If you take a Breivas, you take a Breivas, he's been going to office all his life. He's been getting proper coaching all his life. Somehow, someway, maybe go have one a bowling machine in the back of the yard. His parents can afford to take him to private coaching. You take Breivas to private coaching. Who coaches him? At the young age, a guy like Mandla Mashimbi. I know he coached him. He was doing some privates with him. Who's Mandla? Mandla is a Titans coach. He's already coaching a Breivas that is in grade 8 or grade 10, whatever. So he's already seeing something special in Breivas at that early age. So for Breivas to break through he's a good player. I don't want you to get me wrong. He's a good player. I just want to give you the scenarios here. So for Breivas to break through to the Titans, and Mandla is a Titans coach, it's gonna be a little bit easy because Mandla knows what this boy is about. You understand? Even if he can probably fail 5-10 times, he still knows this boy is got it to make it big, So, but you take someone like there's this boy, I rate him very highly, Bariki Moody's. He's so good, he comes from Amaskral. Who does he work with? Go Amaskral. He works with your local coaches. They also have limited resources, Sahori, how far they can take this boy. But what makes him better, or what gets this boy through, it's his natural talent that he's got, not the fact that he's coached by Mandla, or not the fact that he's coached by your big coaches. His natural talent takes him through to a certain point. But who has been watching this boy play all along from his young age? The coach they can come to manager or they can come to whoever coach and say, Phangi, this boy is good. And then I'm going to look at him in an eye, okay, let me give him an opportunity, put him in the nets. You put him in the nets, with guys like Bo Phangi, they're bowling to him, Bo Lizard Williams, Bo Junior Dala. He shows you a bit of promise. You can see it's there. But then, no. It's something to work with. But then, I think he still has more to do. You understand? And then he's thrown back into that system that he still needs to prove himself over and over and over again.
Before you know it, it's 10 years.
Before you know it, thank you. I wanted to say, before you know it, it's 15 years.
Yes.
Before you know it, let's say 4 years. He loses 4 years from after matric. Hafihlago 25. Where is Brevas? Brevas is already IPL. And just because someone saw the potential, someone, like I say, I'm not saying Brevas is an amazing player. Modise is an amazing player, but the opportunity given, is it fair or is it the same? Probably not. Like I say, Modise, I remember he just came to the nets once or twice and there was so much potential shown, and then after that, he's gonna have to work on this. Then he's gone back, but then there's no sort of that, let's follow up and let's bring him back, let's this. And I think that's where a lot of times we fail as coaches. I'm gonna say coaches because I've also started sort of a coaching career, so in just seeing potential and nurturing it through, because as I say, as black cricketers, as black people, we come from disadvantage already, and we always have to prove ourselves double the amount as other counterparts. But I think that is the biggest thing. Opportunity given, amount of opportunity given.
Don't get me wrong. So I always say, so cricket is much like golf, in that they are not like soccer where all I need is a ball, a field, and a friends to play. With this sport, you need equipment. And when I say equipment, I'm not talking about something that you can just pick it up from a dustbin somewhere. You need equipment, and the more proper the equipment, the better. And the better the competition you're playing with is the best. With cricket and golf, you can't recreate artificial means. This artificial means like the Baker's cricket and stuff. They're just good when you start. But you can't face, a hard ball is a hard ball. It's not a slice ball. The first time you play with it, it comes heavy on your bat, and you're shocked. What is this? Because you've never played with it. So that is, the gap is too wide, and that economic injection separates what I'm deliberately calling quota players. And you were called a scholarship guy, right? and the ones who were born with this. The reason is, Phangi, you will never bridge this divide, because these big companies who used to inject monies into townships, they are no longer there. I think Mandla Mashimbi was produced through those systems. Toyana and
Makaya, a lot of guys.
So you didn't go to a sports school. When I say sports school, I'm talking about the sports schools. Your King Edwards and stuff. You do not come from that. You come from the township, and you were modeled to be called a scholarship guy to come. So the difference will always be there, and I'm emphasizing this deliberately because if I'm 21 and I start playing golf, and someone has been playing golf since he was 8, 9, they already know a lot of things that I do not know. So before you even do work on me, you have to unlearn. I have to unlearn a lot of things that I thought were good and they were not good. You understand? And those coaching times cost money. Those paid sessions that you're talking about, is what I want. I want us to be fair and realistic. That, you know, when they say merit, on merit, the reason they use those on merit, because they know that toe to toe, our Kasi boys will never be equal with the white kids. They know, that's why they throw in the word on merit. He's selected on merit. The same word merit, they did not use it during apartheid. They didn't even want it. You understand? So, and I'm saying it with confidence that it's fine. We selected players on merit a million times. I mean, the first tour we went to India after when Clive Rice took the guys to India. All those guys were not even selected on merit, but there was just a bunch of our white teams that went there and to go and represent us. They received it very bad there. You understand? It was very bad. It's because the international levels was not the same. But being the as it may, Cricket South Africa receives one of the best sponsors and. But what have they won with their merit? Nothing. So we have not won anything on merit. In 2000, the Commonwealth is nothing. Commonwealth is nothing. It's not even, I mean, I don't want to even talk about Commonwealth. But so typically we are given T20. So in a week's time, I think next weekend we are playing the T20 World Cup. And the team we fielded there only consists of Ngidi and, well, I don't even want to count Ngidi because Ngidi is technically not in the team. Rabada is not in the team. They just hoid him there because he's African, but he's not fit. So you have hoid him there, he's not fit, so technically speaking, we don't have African players there. It's a transformation has failed. And if anyone would want to pretend that transformation has not failed, will be lying. Look at the squad. The squad has no African player who's match ready. That's a huge failure, Aaron. It's a huge failure.
Okay, let me just jump in there.
Please do.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I think somewhere along the lines you mentioned Uguti Kagiso was just thrown in. Kagiso was not thrown in there, to be honest. Kagiso has always been a guy that is gonna be good enough to make any team.
It's not match fit.
No,
all I'm saying.
Wait. No, let me get in. That's why let me get in there. So Okahiso has always been a guy. He's always gonna be a guy that can make any team in the world. So he went to India for the IPL. Obviously, he got injured there.
Unfortunately.
So the squad was already announced.
Yeah.
And so he's not that guy that we say we just hoying him there. No. If I pick any team to tour anyway, I think Kagiso will make, if you select 5 names first to make the 15-man squad, Kagiso will always be there. It's just
that's not in contest. That's common because you and I agree. I'm saying Kagiso's name is there as we speak. It's there. But technically speaking, because it's not match fit, we could just remove it. But we're not going to remove it because
we're not sure.
He will weaken the team.
As we're speaking, we're not sure who is not match fit or not. So we'll only find that out when we get there. And we've got, so if he's not match fit, we've got replacements. We've got 100 Bega. We've got your Ngidis that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And even Ngidi is also not a kind of guy that you say we're hoying him in there.
No, of course.
So Ngidi actually has the best numbers. If maybe people don't know, Ngidi has the best T20 numbers in South Africa. Better than Takeji, better than Tsabo Nokia, Tsabo Mangmang. It's just that I believe the unfortunate thing about Ngidi, he's just that easy drop. Shem. He's just that easy drop.
Explain that.
What is easy drop? Let me tell you what's easy drop. Easy drop. I've been in that situation where when I was in the Proteas setup, I was there for a long time, and there was Imran Tahir. The spinners was Imran Tahir and Mpho Phangiso. So even when we played, myself and Imran, and you can look at my numbers, I'm not lying. Even when we played, me and Imran will do so well. You know what I mean? But if it comes to selection and they say, Uguti, hey, maybe we need to play a seamer here. They're not sure, Uguti, whether we're playing a seamer or whether we're playing a spinner. Who is the easy drop there? The easy drop will be Mpho Phangiso, because we just guys that, unfortunately, that's what it is. You know, we don't talk, you know, we don't ask a lot of questions, you know. We're like, okay, coach, I'll take that, you know. All right, I understand. You know, there are guys in the team that cause havoc. You know, there are guys that you drop, for an example, you drop Imran Tahir. Imran Tahir will tell you, Uguti, I don't need this, guys. I'm going to go play in England. Or I'm going to go play the leagues around the world. You understand what I'm saying? So he's got those options, and then I think people know, and they're like, no, we cannot. You know, it doesn't matter if Mpho Phangiso's average is this at the moment, or he's bowling like this, and. I mean, I know there was. That's why I get sorry to just touch on myself.
No problem. That's why you're here.
So I know. I mean, I went to World Cups where I think one of the World Cups I didn't even get a game. You know, other World Cup, you know, we played in India, and the first two games in India, then I don't take the field, and you know, when you're hearing the public or the newspapers in South Africa, why is Phangi not playing? And then you give me a chance to play. The first game I play, I get man of the match. You know, the second game I play, I do super well. But guess what? The tournament is already gone. We've already lost whatever game, so we knocked out of the tournament. But then when we come back to South Africa, Mpho Phangiso he's done so well. He's picked up man of the match in one of the biggest stages in the World Cup, obvious. You know, when we come back, the next tour, guess what? You start from the beginning.
You don't build up from there.
Yeah, you don't build from there. There's this guy's been proving himself over and over and over. So that is what Ngidi, that's what he's going through. And that's what I think he's been shame in the system, because Ngidi got the World Cup, got the tours that he plays, the opportunities that he gets. He does so well. If you look at it, I don't know how many firefighters he's got T20. You look at his numbers. I wish we could put his numbers on the screen, but unfortunately we can't. You'll do that. So you look at his numbers. They tell you, if there was someone to pick out of the Simas, it would be Ngidi first. But like I say, he's that easy drop, because let's be honest, if you don't take KG, what is South Africa gonna do? South Africa is gonna complain. If you don't take Nokia, people are gonna complain. People are gonna complain. So you don't take Uban, you know what I mean? So Ngidi, does he have the public's favor? Does he have South Africa? Is he a South Africa flavor? We don't know. Tina, that know and understand cricket, we can say no. Why is Ngidi not in the 15? You understand? Just like I can say, why is Nandre Bega not in the 15? Because this boy has been doing well for the last couple of months. SA20, he's proven himself. Go IPL, he's doing the work. You know what I mean? But you take your best, you put them on the bench, you know, and then we want to win the World Cup. I mean, sometimes Dilo say the decisions that we make, questionable. I respect the decisions made by the top people, but it's like the last time we set Riza down. Remember that World Cup where Riza was on the bench, but he was one of the best batters on form at that time. But he was sitting on the bench, and we want to win the World Cup. So some of the things for me, they really don't make that much sense. But that's why I get the decisions that are made upstairs. We gotta respect them. But like I say, at the moment, if you were to ask me, Hore, why is Ngidi sitting out? I would question big time, because Ngidi should be on the first sort of one of the first names when it comes to the Simas.
While it's a traveling reserve, so when we speak cricket, I get many thoughts at the same time. I want to talk about Imran Stahi, and I also want to talk the little opportunities that we're talking about. Lutz Bosman, the hammer, one of the best destructive pinch hitters to come. And I remember there was a T20 that he opened with Graham Smith. I think that's still the world record. I've not checked stats in a long time. That man had everything going. Very, very destructive. So, and I want you to understand, Rena, we don't. Lutz Bosman is an African man, for those who don't know. So, I want to see an African man opening betting, and I think that's the pressure that Temba Bavuma is going through, because I want my kids in my lifetime to see a few batsmen betting at number 1, 2, or 3, who's African, because that will tell you that we have bridged the gap. Ashwell Prince says we all have the same hand-eye coordination. We are both born with it. So if you give me 10,000 hours in the nets, like the other guy who gets 10,000 hours in the nets, you'll produce the same thing, but we can't because of that economic scale that I told you about. But look, so let me just rather talk about. I'll pack the World Cup for now. Imran Tahi comes to South Africa. He plays, and we all love him, but he cannot get the citizenship. And at that time, they say no, he needs to wait for, I can't remember if it was 18 months or 24 months, and we are projecting in the World Cup going to. So, as a player, as a beautiful left armer, what do you think at that time, as a sportsman, who you are contesting in the same space with him in the Proteas? And this guy, they say they're speaking about the future, they're waiting for him. Once he gets his papers, he'll come and play. And you are here. What goes through your mind?
To be honest, that's something that I myself can't control. As a player or as a sportsman, you can't control anything. I think if he stays, the rule states, or if he stays in the country for however long, then he deserves his citizenship. So as a player, end of the day, competition is always going to be there. Imran is a very good friend of mine. So this one I'm not going to get.
Let me ask you this question again.
That. So
there was a time Kune played as Bafana number 1, and he had injury. He had to wear a mask. And at the time, you had Munib Joseph and you had Senzo Meiwa. And these guys are playing good football. But Kune is injured. They place him in Bafana with a mask. And I'm asking myself, as a sportsman, you sit in there, you say, guys, even an injured Kune is still better than me. You understand what it makes to a player. So I want to ask you, at the time, and so that's why it's very difficult for you to answer this. South Africa is planning to have someone to come and spearhead our bowling attack on spin, because we are traditionally weak in spin. And you are there, you are in your prime. You went through all the cycles. When you were groomed, Aaron, you were groomed to fill a South African gap. You came with a left arm. And you are obviously groomed to come and play a significant role in the Proteas. This is why you went through all these paces for that. And when you are there, they're roping someone to come and do it. What goes through your mind?
That's why it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to answer.
You can answer if I switch off the lights and the cameras.
No, it'll still be difficult, because the answer, I think, for me will still remain the same. Whether Imran is there or is coming in or not, there's always going to be a competition. You understand? And I can only myself control what Mpho Phangiso can control. I can, at the time, I think I was actually playing for the Lions. What was Mpho Phangiso doing for the Lions? We were winning trophies. You understand? Mpho Phangiso was doing well for the Lions. So
you agree with me?
No, I look to a lot of South Africans, or to a lot of maybe other spinners. It might have been, it might have been deemed Uguti. It's a little bit unfair. Why do we take someone from outside? Nami, those are the thoughts that obviously came in my head. But look, like I say, competition. We get our very own South African players that go to England. Kevin Peterson, they even end up captaining the England side. So that's why, as a cricketer, Linna, to be honest, if maybe at some point more South Africa, I felt like my worth was not recognized, or what I was doing was not recognized, and the West Indies give me a call and they say, hey, come play, Zwagar, and then if you stay here for 2 years or 3 years, you'll play for the West Indies. It's something that you're an athlete, you're a sports person. You want to play, go the highest that you can. You understand? And which is what Imran did, and it worked out for him. Did it set other guys back a bit? Yes, it did. Did it disrupt maybe the system? I don't think it did, because if we had better players than him, then that wouldn't have been a topic. But our Mpho Phangiso, they still pulled through. They still showed that they are good enough to play for South Africa. Like I said, we went to the World Cups, we went to ICC events. Mpho Phangiso has won trophies for the Lions. He's captained the Lions. So there's a lot of things that happened, Mina, in my life with Imran still there.
Yeah.
So
no, it's fine. I understand. So
as long as I'm good.
No, I understand you,
yes.
And I understand where you answering from. So let me ask you a question. So I see Northerns as a representation of cultures that did not grow up playing rugby and cricket. So you would understand people from Poland and stuff. It's different for them because the Xhosa guys have been playing this for more than 100 years. We didn't. And it's very difficult for us to break through because you get these good African schools that are dropping in good players. So for our guys, it's very difficult to break through. So I'm just going to ask you short questions. Do you think Gulam Bodi, I think when you got to Northern, he was already playing in senior there, deserved to play more international cricket than he did?
Definitely. Gulam Bodi he deserved a whole lot of more games. That's why I get it. It's just unfortunate sometimes where you are, who is backing you, who is the coach at the time. You must understand, or cricket, it's just like soccer.
Yeah.
Why benching? Why is it like this? Cricket is exactly like that. I mean, I know we're talking about Gulam, but I can take you back. I'm going to talk about myself, like you said.
Yes,
that's why
you are here. Yes.
So Len go Titans. In the beginning, my early years go Titans. Richard Pybus was the coach. He never thought anything of me. He never thought anything of me. That's why I moved to the Lions, where I got a coach that believed in me. I got a coach that knew me from an early age. Now coach I go SA under 19, which is Dave Nasworthy. And then look at the person that didn't give me an opportunity in Richard Pybus. Me moving to the Lions, to someone. That's why this whole thing, even in the beginning, we mentioned opportunity and opportunity and opportunity. Yes. So I get to the Lions, I start playing more games. All of a sudden, who's this kid? In Gebegin to go Titans, I was probably not going to get any games.
So you didn't start your career at Titans?
No, I started at Titans.
Technically speaking.
No. I started at Titans.
Technically speaking, you started at Titans.
I played a couple of games for Titans before I left for the Lions. So my debut at professional cricket, it was at the Titans.
But you didn't do much there.
No, I didn't do much. That's why I go Watergate. But who was the coach?
That's why I said deliberately. So for us, Northerns represents all of us in the northern provinces of this country, and we expect you guys to come out. And if someone goes and plays in the with the Lions, I mean, those are Joburg kids. Those are Joburg rich kids that go there and flaunt their skills there, and we expect it. And for you to come and spend useless times with the Titans and go and make your name with the Lions. So it's just some of those things that I'm telling you that I feel that's why I always insist, let's talk about quotas. Let's talk about you are not ever going to talk transformation without talking quotas. I want to embrace, I know for you guys, because you're a professional and you've played with professionals, the word quota to you guys, it hurts you. And I'm a fan of the game, and I've always insisted.
I mean, it used to hurt me.
Embrace the word quota.
It used
because
to hurt me a lot.
Without it, you guys will never.
That's what I said. It used to hurt me a lot.
Because they are deliberately throwing at you to hurt you.
I mean, back in the days, that is what was created more dinqondonza the public.
Yes.
Ukuthi we cricket or black people are not good enough to make teams. You understand? And then they hold this quota thing, we need to play a certain number of players. And what used to hurt me now as a fact, I knew I was good enough. I knew I was good enough to play in any team if given the chance. You understand? As I said, I played SA under 17. There's no choosing quotas. There's no choosing. You need to choose. There was no. You need to choose a certain number of black people. Played SA under 19. Same thing. There's no. You needed to. It was your stats on the week. This is what this guy did, and playing with the best, A, B, and all of that stuff. So, but when it comes to that level and they put in numbers, it's a word that any black cricketer or any black sportsman, rugby players, whatever, we hate, because you are good enough to be playing with these guys, but the public born, they don't deem you like that. So even whatever you do, even if you score the runs or you getting wickets, that was a lucky one, eh? That was why they always say that was a lucky one, until such a point where, because of our own choice but to play, and then that system, your quota system, these rules, I don't know who came up with the rules for government, but thank you very much for that, because if it wasn't of that, I don't think a lot of guys would have been where they are, or they would have shown their talent. They would have been given an opportunity to do that. So in us being given that quota thing, or that opportunity to play, it then gives you time to actually learn about the game. And I like what you said, that example earlier, Hore. You are 21 and someone that's been playing from a young age. You must understand, I can be Mpho Phangiso, I can be a good cricket player, but because cricket was never in my family, whatnot, there's certain things that I actually don't know nothing about. There's certain behaviors that come with cricket that you have to behave a certain way. There's certain things that when you're young, for an example, I'm going to use Faf for an example. Faf has played cricket the rest of his life. From when he was young, they talk about these when he was 2, he picked up a bat. You can imagine that. You understand? So now, get 12. Got 12, still, I don't know the culture of cricket, because I am where? I am in Soshanguve. Because Soshanguve, we still play soccer. So I still have to unlearn certain things, and Quota gave us that opportunity to actually, that time, to actually say we can play the game as well. So in the beginning it hurt, and then when you start to show off your thing, then you sort of embrace and say, yes, I come from that system, but I'm not here playing for South Africa or playing for the Lions because of I'm not good enough, But I do thank that system, Horno. Thank you for whoever placed it in or being in place. The question I would like to post probably is, I wonder if now all of a sudden that's taken away, if guys are still gonna get the same opportunities even this day and age, cricket. You spoke about important things. Maybe I didn't want to touch a lot on when you said, Horo, we only have KG in the South African team. So if all of these rules were to go away, are we as South Africa, have we grown past that time, Hori, we see people for color or we see people on ability of what they can do? I think that should be the question. I think honestly, I believe Uguti, there are players that are so good out there, whether black or white. There is good black talent, and for now in this era, for someone to pick someone, it's something that we can't run away from.
See,
something that we can't run away from, because every team probably in the province, not in the province, in the country, when they pick a team, they have to make sure they've got 3 black Africans. They have to make sure they've got 6 players of color or whatever, But that's what I'm saying. If those kind of rules are taken away, where would we be as a country? Do we deserve? Are we saying Uguti KG is the only black player that deserves to go to the World Cup? There's no one else that's better than that's what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I was saying. Why can't we have KG and someone else? Why isn't Kwena in the team as a startup? Mbappe Mbappe was thrown in with the best French team guys, with the best, very best. It was a team, and he was allowed to play with those guys. All Kwena Mapaka is getting now is hate from Del Steyn. Can you imagine your introduction to international cricket? Your own heroes are publicly humiliating you, and you want to talk to me? It's not sport, Mchana. This is not cricket. This is not. You can't tell me Kwena comes to IPL and the first people who criticize him are his heroes. Yeah. Those former Proteas are his heroes. He grew up seeing those boys pacing it up, and they are the ones who are criticizing him. And you cannot tell me that's not racial. But anyway, I hate talking about that boy. Anyway, that boy, I'm talking Del Steyn, by the way. Tell me, Mandla Mashimbi, Jeffrey Toyana, tell me about them and how tough. Assumed, because you know them better. I can't get them here. It's very difficult to get our African players who are still playing, and you are playing yourself. You are still in the system, and that's why you can't speak freely. You must get Jeffrey here. He would be the right guy to answer some of the questions. I just want to understand, what does you captain Jeffrey's Rem team in a long time ago. And you did very well with Jeff. Just tell me, maybe the Toyana family just come with it, and then tell me what a man is, what kind of a man he is. He has done everything to deserve to coach internationally. I still don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, no, look, there's so many things I can tell you.
And how did Mark Boucher overtake him to the Proteas?
That's another one. But to be honest, there's so many things I can say about Jeff. If I can speak about Jeff, we'll be here for 3 hours. You know what I mean? He's a quality man, Baba. He's a quality coach. You know, I mean, I played with Jeff when I started Go Titans. You know, I knew him as a player, and
Yes.
I was lucky enough to know him as a player, and then I knew him as a coach as well. You know, and as a coach, you know, with what he has done with, or what he had done with the Lions, I think then not a lot of coaches had achieved what he had done. You know, coming from obviously where he comes from and the learnings that he did under Dave Nasworthy, you know, and him taking that Lions team from basically not winning anything, or from every time they end up Anambamjila, you know, or ending up close to the last all the time. And his character was one of the best. The way he took over the team, the way he managed the team. I like using the word manage. I don't like saying coach, you know, because, and that I learned from Jeff Uwuti. Us, as a lot of coaches, some of South Africa, we want to coach players. You know, we don't want to manage players. You know, we want to tell players what to do. This is don't do this, don't do that. You know, Jeff was a human being. You know, he was, for me, he was sort of a brother before he was a coach. You know, and the relationship that we had, it also went on to the field. I could trust Jeff, you know, on and off the field. You know, there's a lot of things Sailong Hori Nali and I, we saw eye to eye, and I think it's purely because of the kind of person he is, how honest he is, you know, as I say, how he manages players. I think.
How tough was it for him
to manage?
Or how tough is it for him?
It actually, it came easy. It came natural to him, because that's why he was a human being before he was a coach. Remember, your job becomes tough if you wanna dictate. Then you need to understand that you're dealing with different characters. You're dealing with in a squad. Let's say you've got a squad of 7.
Why is he not in the Proteas?
Why is he not in the Proteas? No. Those kind of questions you should be asking the big dogs there. We've got the director of cricket. We've got Bumangmang. So Mpho Phangiso, I wouldn't
that man is so good.
I wouldn't be able to answer that.
That man is so good. I'm asking myself, what must happen? What must happen? Why did Mark Boucher overtake him?
Chief, that's why I say some of the questions they need the big dogs to answer.
Okay,
you
sure.
know what I mean.
Let's talk about
what I can
Jeffrey.
say. What I can say is, I think at the time he deserved the job.
Yeah.
You know, I think at the time he had put numbers. He had produced South African players. I mean, at the time of Jeff, him being coach or manager, go Lions. I think about 8 guys were playing for South Africa. Yeah. And then you look, the number of players South Africa at that time was the black players were actually even coming through. You know?
That man reduced the dominance of Titans in our leagues.
Exactly. You know, he did well. He dominated the leagues. He dominated everything. You know, Alviro was playing for the Proteas. Myself, Tami Twelekile. All of these guys.
Let's talk about Mandla Mashimbi. He's been in the trenches for a long time now. What's the future for a black coach in South Africa? Must he go to other countries to go and coach there? What's happening? What are we ever going to see him in the Proteas setup? You see, I'm an African man. I don't want my kids to watch cricket the same way I watched. I don't want to watch white people representing South Africa when Africans can do it. You understand? I grew up, Jacques Kallis was given ample time. You spoke about people who know you, who know your greatness. Jacques Kallis would not see his greatness as he started. But we were told this guy is a gem, this guy is a gem. Like Flintoff, they proved to be the best all-rounders in the world because they were given a chance. I believe Godfrey might be given a chance. Pitso Msimani, was given a chance by Sundowns, and that's why we saw his greatness, because Chiefs and Pirates could not give him a chance. They would fire any African coach in less than time. We're not winning anything as Proteas. Why don't we just hoy a Toyana there or a Mashimbi there?
Yeah, look, I believe Uguti, every coach that needs to coach South Africa, they must deserve it, you know.
And they do.
And I think, I think I touched on Jeffrey Toyana, how good he was. And I think, no Mandla, if you look at the numbers that he's put on, or the trophies, you know, since he's taken over, you know, I think he's done well with the Titans. You know, I think it's only this season where the Titans took a bit of a knock, you know, which happens to all the teams. But I think Uguti, if given a chance, I think he can be a good coach if given a fair chance. You know, you must remember Uguti, being given a chance is something else, and then being given a fair chance, it's different. So Leena Mandla, if he's given that chance to say, look, you have done this with the Titans, you know, you've been involved in and out in the setup, academies, the national academies, the whatnot. So here, let's see. You know, I think Uguti, if he surrounds himself with a good team around himself, that will be sort of something good for him, so that he can learn from those guys, you know, because those positions there, it's not just a position. You don't just get in there and say, Jeffrey coach, and then he's alone. No, you have to have your good batting coach, bowling coach, fielding coach, and if you surround yourself with guys that obviously are channeled for the same goal, and Loena, they want you to do well, I think he can be. I mean, he's won what, coach of the year twice, Mandla, in a row, you know. So yeah, it is a little bit not concerning, but funny, if you wanna say Wuti, maybe he hasn't even been considered, or maybe he didn't apply for the job when the other two guys got their jobs. I don't know.
All right.
But yeah, maybe he should have applied if he didn't.
Yeah, you spoke about betting coach, blah blah coach and stuff. You see, soccer, Benny McCarthy is in England.
Striker.
He's in charge of the attack of Manchester United. It's a specialist position. There's nothing that specializes like cricket. Cricket has specialties in just all spheres. Do you think we've got... It's very difficult to ask you these questions because I know you're not going to give me a real answer.
No, shoot, try.
Are we struggling? Are we struggling for our own conditions to produce spinners, to coach spinners for our own setup, for our groundsmen and spinners and coaches to produce the things that we want in South Africa? So you will not get dominated by Indians who come to South Africa, people coming from the subcontinent of Asia, coming here, the Bangladesh, the Pakistan and the Sri Lankans come to dominate you on a pitch that you grew up in, on groundsmen who knows if the pitch plays 3 days, 4 days or whatever. Are we struggling to manage or coach that kind of setup? Because I'm saying it at the backdrop of I still don't believe, because I'm a pro-African, I still don't believe why we had to wait for over 2 years for Imran Tahi's papers to be fine, so we could say we've got a good attack to take to the World Cup because we want to win a World Cup and we are using someone who's not a born African. So I want to ask you that, did we fail in that aspect? Because after this, I want to talk about something else.
I think we can produce sort of coaches, or this is if I'm understanding your question right, coaches that can produce spinners, or that can
coach that can mentor and have preparations enough for someone who says because you did not fall from the sky. You went through the systems, because when someone, you went from what we call School of Excellence in football language. From the School of Excellence, they knew they are going to produce Stephen Pinar.
Yeah.
And you went through the same thing. So they knew they're not producing you to go and sit Kukasi. They produced you so you could come and play for the Proteas. And once you get to the Proteas and you hit the ceiling and they say, no, we are done and let's get Imran Tahi. You see, I'm repeating this question because it doesn't sit well with me. So, couldn't they just say, okay, for Aaron to play, we need Gali to be. Let's field maybe Temba Bavuma at Gali, and we go. So something must happen. Let's manage this play. Let's manage this player to produce what we want. Couldn't we get that?
No, I think, like I said, we could get, and we still can get coaches that can coach that area of
specialized spinning.
That specialized spinning. We do have, I think, Paul Adams that host the spinners camp and but I think the question is, do we spend enough time on it? You understand? Because to be honest, Ogasi, you can't have a spinners camp for just 3 days and then you send let's say a 19-year-old or a 17-year-old, you just show him 1 or 2 things to say, go work with this. It doesn't happen like that. Spin does not happen like that. They tell you, Uguti, as a spinner, you mature at the age of probably later on in your career. You know what I mean? So what are we hoping to achieve if we just saying 3 days or a week of spin camp, and then after more you send a boy that comes from Kimberley or whatever to say, go work with what you have there, or you send again another African player, you send him go Amaskral or Soshanguve, you say go do this. First of all, go Soshanguve, there's no even cones, there's no even balls and all of that stuff. So those are some of the things that I don't think really we are really tell at home 100%. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think we can do better. We did fail. We can do better, because if you look at it, whenever we went to India against Spain, we get dominated.
When they are here,
Kaspini, you know, still better. I think our focus is we still go on what South Africa has done well over the years, which is fast bowling, which is producing this. But then that aspect of the game, that area of the game, I think we can do much better.
The reason I'm doing this difficult comparison is because the Australian simmers would play in simming pitches, but they still produce good spinners. And we're battling our simmers pitches. We battle to get spinners who can play in the same conditions. And why is it?
Like I say, remember more South Africa, like my own boy, Ungaba, always when he picks up a ball, he wants to become a fast bowler.
That's what he sees on TV.
That is what he sees on TV. You know what I mean? So it's always been for years. Look at the people that have always been idolized. Let's start Donald. You know, Makai Antini, Sean Pollock. You know, you'll never hear a Nicky Boye. You'll never hear a Paul Harris, a Mpho Phangiso, Imran Tahier. You'll never hear them being put on that sort of scale. So I think that's one thing that we need to, maybe as South Africans, emphasize a bit on. We appreciate our spinners a little bit better, so that it starts from a young age, you know.
All right. Let's talk about the hearings. Did you go to the Cricket South Africa hearings?
For the what?
the racism hearings.
Oh,
that fuss.
The SJN.
Yeah.
The SJN.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was there.
What did you say there?
No, I mean, I was just. I just spoke my journey. Yeah. Cricket. I just spoke my truth, or what cricket has contributed and what it has done, the scars that it has left, and buildings that the groomings that it did in my life, you know. So it was a difficult period in I think a lot of guys' lives, cricketing wise, career wise, because I know there's a lot of guys that wanted to speak out, but they didn't speak out because of being kind of arguing, what's the word I'm looking for?
Muzzled?
Yeah, being judged or being
labeled.
Being labeled, or So guys that spoke out, you know, I'm happy for, because to speak about the injustices, what they felt, or the system. That was, for me, that helped me a bit. The things that happen that you obviously won't forget. The things that happen that stay with you. There's words that probably people say to you, that you'll never forget. You walking on the field again. We spoke about it. Hey, you caught a player. Such things. You don't forget about that. You won't forget about a coach making you feel like you are a quota player. If I can tell you a story, you'll actually laugh. I'm not gonna mention the coach or which team it was in, but this is a story that I think all cricketers know. I think there was a particular coach in the change room, and I think there was names of players there, Mopotong, and then he put stars next to African players and colored players, and so one senior guy, a colored guy, and he asked, "Hey, coach, are these your star players or what? Your main players?" And then the coach didn't even know how to answer that, because I think for that moment it just shows you to what people go through, more change room, to see that Uguti, to be separated like that, Uguti, okay, you guys are probably different to the rest. So like I say, it was a tough time, but I said my truth.
The reason I called it a fuss is because I compare it with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission by Desmond Tutu. Who was the judge in the cricket? Is it Ntsabeza?
Yeah.
So, it's I can't fault the guy because it's what the system wants, and you are still playing. The guys who are not playing, they will still be afraid to tell me who's that coach who made those asterisks. Because if you put an asterisk, at the end you must write as a footnote what does that asterisk denote. And the player must not even ask, why is my name has an asterisk there? But you can't tell me who the player is, you can't tell me who the coach is. It just shows you how difficult transformation is and how unfair the system is, because you can't even speak. But I understand because you're still playing. So there were players who were not okay. There were guys who were still not playing. So let me give an example. Effie went there, and I felt Effie held back a bit. The guys who went there, I feel they could not say much because I think they didn't feel protected. And one of the issues that I had there was you were at the receiving end of this. If you go and you have a scandal, if you have a drinking scandal or something, if it's Mpho Phangiso, and if it's let me just use someone who's not related to this deliberately, Andre Nel, because Andre Nel is white and you are not white. I remember your story was broken by an Afrikaans newspaper, and they contacted Cricket South Africa. Cricket South Africa said, yes, it's true, yes, it's true. So, and I know I've spoken to guys on the sides. They would tell me, now you've got no idea how many of those problematic things were happening because you guys went into a system that you found a culture of drinking in the setup, and that system consumed you. But it's unfortunate whenever it explodes with your name. I mean, let's talk about one of the funny things is Herschel Gibbs is known for his drinking and his smoking, as if he's the only one in the team, in a team that he was doing it. But that thing painted him badly, as if he was the only one. I bet if I get Hesh here to say, Hesh, were you smoking and drinking alone? He said, no, of course not. I was drinking with my teammates.
There's no way you can be smoking and drinking alone.
Yes, but it pains him.
Yeah.
So tell me, because it came out of those hearings to say, whenever something wrong, and we're not saying you guys are holy. Whenever something bad happens, it's escalated when it's done by you, but on those other ones, because they've got BR teams protecting them, and it's always protected. Just for us who are outside, do you think the hearings helped in any way?
For me, to be honest, I didn't see the result of that. I think guys were hoping for something better, but I didn't see the results. I didn't see guys coming up, guys that were sort of accused to say, this is what you did to me, this is what you said. I didn't see guys sort of coming in public as the guys went, as we did, to say, you know what, Phangi, I didn't mean that like this. I'm very sorry.
I was expecting my voucher and
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so
I don't. Smith to come out publicly, no reservations, to apologize directly to people that they have wronged. But I could not get that. But
like I say, you if you hear Makaya's story, you hear a lot of guys' story. I think Kaya Zondo as well story was a little bit somehow. So for guys not to get some sort of, to put themselves out there, this is what guys did, and that's why I remember guys are scared to sort of to lay it all out on the table, because the very same people you are talking about or trying to get attention so that you can fix things going forward, it's the very same people that somehow along the way are gonna have a say in your future if you wanna stay in cricket. You understand? So I know one of the toughest things that I had to do was actually start speaking about my journey cricket Northerns. I had just signed with the Titans again, and I had to speak about how my journey started.
Obviously be difficult.
It was gonna be difficult. So, and I mean, I spoke to Dr. Fall about it to say, look, I'm up to go to SJN, and unfortunately these things happened back then and they have
before your
era, and I have to talk about them, and he understood, but it's me being open with him like that. And me being open with him like that, I actually did not know the impact to what's gonna happen after I say that. Because remember, Naya, as a CEO, he has to look after the sport.
He protects the brand.
He has to protect the brand. 1, 2, 3, 4. But he was very good at that because he understood. So maybe other guys, they didn't open up because of such things. And in Nami, I know there's maybe 1 or 2 things that you hold back because of, look, you don't want to be in the future, Tokria, you need to do this, and then people are just cutting you off, because that's how much power some people have power more in our sports. As you said, or who says this is what happened with Aaron Phangiso with the drinking thing, and who took that to the media?
Yes.
Who does not take what happened with, as you used, Andre Nel?
Yes.
Who says let's cover it out?
Yes.
Because I tell you, there's so many stories that there's far worse things that I can tell you,
Yes.
But there's always a cover up,
And even if you were to go and snitch about it, the journalists will just hold it and say, hey,
listen,
your boy is leaking his stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a double-edged sword.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
So you are right. There's a couple of things say long. We did find the culture like this. You walk in a change room. There's always, we were sponsored by SAB at some point.
Yes.
There's always drinks. There's always fines after the game.
Yes.
If you are, some of us, we come from backgrounds where probably, and this is the honest truth, we come from backgrounds where we were not taught how to handle alcohol.
Yes.
We were not sat down and said, look, and I'm sure I'm sure you can relate with him when we go to parties. If Patla did some party, we go in. We go in. We go in. So it's not okay. Let's take 2, 3. It's enough, you know. And a lot of the white boys or the counterparties, whatever, they're taught at a young age. I remember I had this kind of chat with some school and some parents, and I said the one thing that you always find, Uguti, the black players maybe find themselves in the wrong when it comes to the the alcohol is because my dad never took me fishing and never took me hunting and put a bottle of brandy there when I was 18 or when I was 17 and said,
this is your first.
This is your first, or just have, and after 3 he takes it away and he says, that's enough. You know, my dad never taught me that. We don't know those kind of things. All I know is probably I live 3 days away, 3 houses away from La. They sell, there's always that Mama Banbani that sells alcohol, you know, and all I know is guys sit there the whole day and buy up shy, you know what I mean? So those kind of things, they play a big role, you know, if people don't understand what it's like for a young man to walk into a change room like that or to walk into a different environment like that, and you end up judging those kids, but then you don't realize, Uguti, man. Remember, we grew up different. We were taught things different, you know, and how about instead of throwing this guy under the bus, let's just find out, okay, how can we help? You know, I think that would be the thing. But what I can tell you is Highveld Gibbs, Mpho Phangiso, all of these guys that are always being spoken about, they're definitely not the only ones that do all of that nonsense in the change rooms,
off field.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I deliberately want to stop it there because I don't want to dwell more. Let's talk about, I'm currently putting it on the screen now. Let's talk about Black Lives Matter and why certain players who are white, of course, according to you, did not take the knee. I've read, I could not understand why they did not take a knee. And I mean, I can read English, A, B, C, D, but when I hear them, I can't understand why they do not want to take a knee. Did they feel not in solidarity with African players?
Well, to be honest, that was a very tough one. I think in all South African change rooms. You know what I mean? You look at how the reaction when people came harder than Gidi. You know, you look at how. I mean, I think at that point as well, there was some farm killings, something like that. You know, so that's it's a very tough.
Because
it's
to
a very
me,
tough one. Because
Cricket South Africa should have just said, guys, are you all taking the knee? Because it's a boardroom thing. If you are not all taking the knee, then no one must take a knee.
Yeah, but it looks bad if you go World Cup. I think we were at the World Cup. Was it at the World Cup or where were we?
But
where I think 1 or 2 guys did not take or whatever. You know, it looks bad, and you know, that's why I get it's a difficult one, because as Cricket South Africa, to force someone to take the knee, and then more to Linna, someone takes the knee. I see. For me, I would rather have you not take the knee at all. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah, because then I know where you stand.
Yes.
I know where you stand. It's not one of those, you take the knee with me, then the next thing, you can throw me under the bus.
The reason I'm saying so is, and this is what disappointed me, is, you know, when the box needed to transform, there were deliberate ploys. I mean, those guys were taken through certain steps. They all needed to sing the national anthem. They all had to go in, and it was deliberate, you understand, to brand the box as a national team. And when you guys, when I'm saying you guys, because you're in the fraternity, when the Proteas, I mean, to me, immediately when that happens, because we are deliberately saying dressing room that's divided. If you don't take a knee, someone takes a knee. It means, so these guys are saying, you understand what I'm saying?
No, I
So,
see.
for example, if the white guys wanted to take a knee because of the farm matters, they could have taken a knee. I mean, you take a knee because of what you do. In our courts, you either take an oath or you affirm by a moment of silence, because in that moment of silence, if you rapela badimu, so because when you are taking the knee, you are taking a knee, you say, because they felt when they take a knee, they're supporting African people, and that was bad. Because I'm saying it was a fumble of managing a team, because a team needed to look like a transformed team. They could say we are taking a stance of not involving the brand in politics, and they don't, because you would understand why teams don't want.
It goes back to exactly what I said to you. Remember, again, I know it's a different something, but it goes back to, if the quota system is taken away, where are we gonna be as a nation?
Nowhere.
So that speaks to that. And like I say, that is personal. They are taking the knee. The managing of it, you are right, thinking about it. You know, the managing of it was what could have been better. You know, because if we are standing at the World Cup and then people are taking a knee and some not, it doesn't show South Africa as a united country that we claim to be.
That's exactly what I want.
Because I think if I were to go a little bit deeper in it, when I'm Mpho Phangiso and I go play in the World Cup and I put on the South African jersey, the flag and all of that stuff, you must remember, Wuti, I'm not representing Mpho Phangiso. You know, I'm representing the 50 whatever million people that are in South Africa, because I said, Uguti, I'm a South African player. So in that way, then your personal things, your personal pride, your personal whatnot, a lot of them, you have to sort of put them away. And then, Ori, you know what, this is for South Africa. So as South Africa, we are united, and we're taking a knee. I'm going to take a knee for the country. I'm going to take a knee. This is what is needed for the country, to show unity, to show this. Because to be honest, end of the day, we do sing Nkosi Sikelel and all of that stuff, and there's some people that still don't believe. Let's not be naive and whatnot. There's still some people that think otherwise. Olden days, there's black people, white people that still have that kind of sort of hate and all of that stuff. But when you put on that badge, I think it's important, Uguti, if you say you are a South African player, you show a united front. And if you don't believe in representing South Africa, then don't play for South Africa. Play for franchise.
1968 at the Olympic Games, at the podium, a black glove. I always wear black glove when I play, and I don't want to wear any other color. I want to wear black glove because I feel it. It's a representation of that class of the 1968 Olympics. The guys took the podium. They were with a white guy in the podium. I think it's Australian, and in solidarity, that guy suffered a great deal. Even those Africans who showed black power with a black glove. It's a sign, and it's very important. It's very symbolic. In the NBA, they're talking about shut up and dribble. People who did not shut up and dribble went on to be very successful. People who didn't shut up and dribble are Michael Jordan. He shut up and dribbled because he didn't want to involve himself with politics. Muhammad Ali didn't want to shut up and dribble. He wanted to speak, and he suffered. All the people who wanted to involve themselves in the politics of sports suffered. The reason they suffered is because the other people did not support them. they did not support them, and so they were isolated. There are a lot of NBA players who if you would see, even this podcast is not going to get numbers because of the very same thing that we're speaking about. It's not going to be, the algorithm will kick it out because of exactly the thing that we're speaking about. It's because the system is not designed to talk about the interest of African people. So if those guys stood up, if I were a dictator, I would say anyone who doesn't want to take a knee, this is the stance we're taking. It's either you leave the team or you're not in the setup, or we are not, all of us are not taking the knee. Because I don't want others to suffer because of the others. You understand? But because we live in a democracy, others chose to represent their own cultures, their own, yes, because of taking that knee. But then, being there as it may, I do understand where you come from, and the difficulty of you freely speaking about a lot of these issues because you're still playing.
I think with us, a lot of times, my brother, as Black Africans, I'm gonna go Black Africans, we also let ourselves down when it comes to support of such things. You know, I remember there was a movement that a couple of guys started. Me being as one of the senior guys in the Proteas, Tammy was there, Lopsy was there, because we felt, Uti, Kaya was there as well, Uzondo. So we felt Uti, it's enough is enough where your Black African players get selected for Proteas, but for the first year or two or whatever, guys are sitting on the bench, and you get the other side of the story where someone, a lot of times, Mabangena, they're so much straight through into the team and so much given opportunity. And, with that, we spoke to guys around the country to say, guys, let's speak to maybe CSA and let's, so that we can address this issue. Because you got in the past players like your Garnet Kruger. I mean, if you listen to that guy's story, it's heartbreaking, where he says he traveled with the Proteas for years and opportunities dololo. Tommy that played that was there in the Proteas for 2 years, and then he was just wearing a bib. So when we got together as guys and then we said, okay, this is what we're gonna raise, what, and then you get certain guys that don't have the shut up and dribbles, and it doesn't. This thing now doesn't become an impact because of the shut up and dribbles, and then sometimes you don't blame them because they know where you don't wanna. The bread is buttered. You know what I mean? But I think, if anything, if only as African players, if we could stand together in what is right, let's not start movements or let's not start things that are stupid and then you expect Mpho Phangiso to support you. I'll never do that. But if Nyabono this is right, you look at history, you look at situations at Tammy, you got selected for 2 years or a year and a half, you've been waiting on the bench. Mark Boucher is there, you understand okay, it's difficult to replace a keeper, but you're there, you have to be there, you're a keeper. And when the guy gets injured, instead of you stepping in, all of a sudden AB de Villiers steps in. He wants to become the best betting what. That you can say it's wrong. Then you can stand up for something like that, But let's not stand up for things that are not that don't make sense.
Something. So remind me, was it Dave Richardson who Mark Boucher took the gloves from?
Before Mark Boucher, I think it was Dave Richardson. Yeah.
So we never had a great batsman keeper. Mark Boucher wasn't the best batsman keeper. Do you think Tammy had a better bet than Mark Boucher?
The stats say so. The stats say so. To be honest, but that's why it's different. If we look at the stats, you must understand. With Boucher played most of his career where at the Proteas. You understand? And then Utami go Ntwela. And then Utami,
it will be difficult to compare.
It will be difficult to compare. But I mean, there was a stage where for the Lions, Utami was averaging about 70 plus for the cricket a season. You know, he was doing so well at the T20. It was just, and then ka hands, you know, his hands, obviously glove work. Tammy had one of the best hands in the world. You know, we all know that he was by far better than a lot of keepers in the world. You know, so was that average of his good enough to kick Boucher out of the team? Personally, I would say it was challenging Mark Boucher, you know, and I think maybe he deserved that chance when Boucher got that the injury early, you know, and I think he was done injustice there.
Yeah, no, it's always very difficult to compare people in that area, and you know, sports. I mean, even in soccer, it's very difficult to compare, because I've heard someone saying those seamers that Mark Boucher kept and caught catches from, they were just giving him cakes, man. I mean, those soft nicks, he would just collect those stats, and they made him look brilliant. But when you compare Mark Boucher with the best keepers in the world, he didn't do anything, because the best keepers had good beds and they had good stamping. Well, of course, he didn't keep lots of stuff with that, but it's very difficult. You know, the Thamiso Lukile issue, it's one of the saddest issue of seeing a potential career dwindling in front of our eyes from start to finish, because there's one man who's in front of you. It's almost compared to Munib Joseph that I gave example. Munib Joseph and Senzo. They had to watch Kune dominating a space where they were as good enough as Kune was, but because Kune was playing for Kaizer Chiefs, people could not drop him, even if he was in bad shape and he was not even match fit. They couldn't drop Kune because he played for Kaizer Chiefs. You see, and that's the saddest thing. But I mean, that's I feel sorry for Thamiso Lukile on that matter, because it's very difficult to compare, especially us who come outside cricket. But in closing, is there anything that you want to push? Because now I want to talk the projection for the squad. Is there anything that you think you wanted to speak about, you could not? Now we want to talk about the current squad, because I'm going to tell you that we failed.
No, I think in closing we touched on a lot of things, you know. I'm just gonna say, Uguti, I think let's give fair opportunity, man. Let's give fair opportunity to kids. You know, I don't believe anymore in black and white, but then the opportunity of a black youngster is always at the back of my head, because I know where they come from. You know, I know the difficulties that they face in an everyday life. So I've got this program that I'm doing, you know, it's called Phangiso Cap. So I take all the kids from the townships. I take them, not all. I'm wrong. Not all. I pick the squad of 17 kids, the best of what I thought they've got potential of going places. So what we do, we coach them on Mondays and Wednesdays. Every day they come through to Super Sport Park and we give them the best. And the reason for that program is obviously because, as I explained earlier, Uguti, you know, all of these boys that go to Cornwall, that go to St. Albans, they get proper coaching. They get good coaching. So it's us off season. So when I'm not doing anything, and a couple of guys, as I mentioned them earlier, Chico, Pat, Abram, you know, Ndlovu, we just thought, let's give back to.
Who helps you with transport?
Northerns helps us with transport. Okay. You know, Northerns helps us with transport to bring them in. But obviously.
How far do you go? Hammanskraal?
Hammanskraal, Sosh, Mamelodi, Atteridgeville, Yesteres, and Odium.
I've seen in the Ethi games, I've seen that happening. He got kids from the townships and at St. Albans, and they were playing. Man, my heart was broken. The stark difference between those kids from the township and their white counterparts, it was huge. It was huge, you know, and I have to tell you, it's as long as these things is not happening in the township, as long as no one is going to give you money to say, Aaron, stop playing professional, you've accumulated enough. This is the money that you are getting at whatever franchise you are playing with now. Here's a contract for 5 years. We're going to keep you at that contract, but we want you in the township. I remember Mpho Phangiso tried those things. I don't know who he produced. I don't know if Tando came from the Mpho Phangiso setup. And it's very difficult. So all I want to say is, like I said when I started, now I admit the white kids will always be better than us because of this sport is not a passion only. It's passion, dedication, time, money. And there's no way, you're not going to pretend that these white kids are worse than, no, these white kids are better because they play and they've got investment in this thing. They will always play and they will always dominate the leagues because we want merit. As soon as we stop wanting merit, you know, he's playing on merit, This merit thing must just fall because we are not going to have black players playing in the squad, because now I want us to discuss the squad. So the squad that we have now is selected, and of course the number one thing is I don't see African players there. What hopes do we have?
Yeah, I think it's a good squad. It
will always be a good squad. It's a Proteas squad. It will always be a good squad.
It is a good squad. You know, you mean hopes for winning the World Cup, right? Look, it's gonna be tough. You look at how the other countries are playing the cricket, how the cricket is moved forward. I was watching. We've all been watching the IPL, and we are one with the scores are hitting. Some guys are going from a 280 to whatever, and that's a brand of cricket that the other countries they already developing. You know, so are we yet there where we've developed our game to that brand, or are we still stuck up? We've got probably two guys that say they move the game forward at will, which is Klassen and I think Mela. You know, but Mela Liena, he's been in that squad for so long that he's been given opportunities to make differences in World Cups. Is it time we move on from him? I'm not sure, but then he's one of the best that we've got.
So the squad is here. And Quinton made it, and I thought he's retiring, but Quinton made it, and it's Miller time. And well, Shamsi, Enric Nukia, Keshaf, Reza, Henry Klassen and stuff. The reason I'm reading out these names, I'm deliberately reading those who have been beaten by the chokers tag, and I'm tired of pretending that we are not chokers. We are chokers, and maybe the more we admit it is the better. I mean, we have suffered the chokers tab from 1999. We are old, and that first choke of Alan Johnson, Donald is still living with us even today. And I'm tired of pretending that we are not chokers. We are chokers, and this squad has chokers, or has people who have been labeled as chokers, and psychologically, it lives with them. What are the chances? What are the chances of us getting into a semi-final berth, and we know this is it. We need to go to the final, and choking. What are the chances? We need to speak about choking, guys. What was our problem there?
Yeah, look, if the thing is, if you haven't done something before, it's always difficult to get over that line. So as you can see, we always get to the semi-final, and then the pressure is different. I mean, we've the team that we went to the World Cup with, we also got to the semi-finals, and then we choked, as you call it. But yeah, look, we've got guys that can win games there. As I said, Klassen can win you games any day. We've got your Millers, Makram, all of them.
Why are we not winning
Makram
games?
has won the World Cup before under 19. So is Makram
Rabada did that.
Yeah, Makram has won the SA20 twice in a row as a captain. So we've got those guys. It's just maybe on the day, are we gonna fire? Because sometimes I feel like maybe it's just a matter of firing. Firing at the right time, firing. I mean, you look at the last World Cup, we won almost most of the games, and we were doing so well. And then you get a team like Australia that was always stumbling, and then before you know it, they win the World Cup.
Here's something controversial. If we are not chokers, are we selling games?
Nah, I don't think we're selling games. Nah, I don't think we're selling.
Are we selling games?
I don't think we're selling that. No.
Why do we always field a good team but not win anything?
Nah, it happens. It happens.
So it's either we're chokers or we're selling games.
It's one of those. It happens. The selling of games, I think a lot of guys have learned their lessons when it comes to that. So
yeah,
I don't think any players are doing that. Yeah.
No, we are always plagued with it. Okay, but so let me ask you one last question. What happened to Bob Woolmer?
I don't know what happened to him. I don't know.
You don't know?
Mm-mm.
Okay, have you played with him? Have you played under him?
Under him, no.
You were not lucky?
Bob Woolmer was back in the days.
Yeah,
he was.
When you started, he was already gone.
Nah, he was already gone. When I started.
But guys in South Africa enjoyed Bob Woolmer a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
I know. I've never probably, even in our change rooms now, I've never had an opportunity to speak to someone that has maybe played under him, or maybe that has spoken about him a lot. We always speak about, when we speak coaches, like you say, we always speak about Bo Jeff, Bo Mang Mang, so Bo Populum. I don't think, one of the guys, Baba Old, that we speak about a lot is Gary. When I started playing for the Proteas, he was the coach. So Bob was before even Mickey Arthur. Ne? Yeah, it was before Mickey Arthur. So that's old topic.
So you were not lucky.
No, that's old topic. No. No.
So, but you don't know what happened to him?
I don't know.
No one knows what happened to him.
I don't know. I don't know
what does the investigation say?
I don't know.
Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. So you wish us to get this World Cup for obvious reasons.
No, definitely. I wish we can win this World Cup, and then
who will win it for us?
Who will win it? You mean out of our players?
Yeah, Quinton, Miller, Keshaf, Shamsi.
I'm putting my money on. Klassen is playing good cricket at the moment. Klassen is playing good cricket, and the captain in Makram.
Okay, our Simas have traditionally not done.
No, Simas are gonna travel. Simas are gonna travel. Bowlers are gonna travel, but that's why you need two guys that are gonna be consistent. And then if you can get Klassen, Makram to be consistent, and Miller to hit you those sort of super innings. You just need that one big innings from Miller now and then. And then if those two are consistent, then I think the club are sharp.
Anyway, thank you very much for coming. There are lots of stuff that we didn't discuss, and it's because of time, and it's because of I need to give you a break. You can't skip. Okay. Thank you very much.
No, thanks a lot.